Good to see you, Ernie Johnson.
I come bearing gifts.
Oh my gosh,
you.
that's a nice paper bag. What do we have here?
Very okay. So here's your NBA on TNT hat.
Very good. I'll take that. Nice trucker look. That
yeah, this is some type of a T-shirt.
Now, normally, shouldn't you have to fire it out of a cannon, being an NBA guy, if it's a T-shirt?
And here's what does that say, by the way? Is it pretty NBA on TNT?
NBA on TNT. Well, this is a good workout. Well, then that's a box that looks like there's something valuable in there.
Yes.
Is that a bobblehead of some sort?
It is the bobblehead set, and I don't know if
here, hand it to me. I will try this. Yeah. This is a styrofoam situation.
This is the set of the four of us.
Oh my gosh. This is going to go on the Rich Eisen Show studio for sure.
I love that.
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
Don't snap any heads off.
Oh my God. Oh my word.
Yes.
Look at this, folks. This is. Oh, that's
I'm the one second from the right, or now second from the left.
Now, by the way,
would be me.
The hairline on this is particularly impressive.
Yeah, they were a little kind. Yeah.
I know. Trust me, I understand what that is. There we go.
There you go. So I hope you enjoy that, Rich.
I can't wait to take this home.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for bringing gifts.
Certainly.
Thank you. It's been great here.
Hey, you're here at our place, and it was only appropriate that we give you a
What
gift.
a spot. I mean, when did you first walk into this campus here, Ernie?
It'll be 30 years ago in July, 1989. And we had like one main building where you could still find Ted Turner in those days.
Is that right?
Yeah, the main building out there that has the fountain in front and has the columns. And then it just, it grew and it's out of control. But I think we have the greatest studio setup anywhere. And just happy to have you down here to check it out.
We love it. We've been made to feel right at home, and hopefully with whatever's going on synergy-wise between Turner and the parent company of this show, hopefully this is just the beginning of a very long and beautiful friendship.
Let's hope so. Yes,
that would be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And so having a Super Bowl in this town as well. This is the second one that has been here. Mm-hmm. Does it transform the town? Do you see it? Do you feel it, or what?
Here's the thing about any time there's a Super Bowl in Atlanta, the first thing you worry about is the weather.
Right.
And wouldn't you know, this week we had these dire predictions of, it's going to snow, it's going to ice. My kids didn't go to school on Tuesday. And woke up, it was 45 degrees. And then when it was all supposed to hit, it was about 38 degrees. But the kids were happy.
It was beautiful, though. Nothing happened.
No, I know. But things have happened here in the past.
No, I know. The previous Super Bowl was pretty much a weather disaster.
So I could have almost guaranteed an ice storm this week with the Super Bowl here, but it didn't happen.
Right.
So it's going to be great.
It didn't happen at all. And I've not been in the new building. It's gorgeous, I'm told.
Oh, it is. It's outstanding. I was in there for the very first game that was played, Alabama against FSU. I was there for the national championship game.
Yeah, I know. You're a Georgia guy.
Oh, gosh.
I know.
That hurt. And then I was there for the SEC championship this year. I'm kind of tired of watching that movie.
Yeah, I know.
This Georgia beats the dog out of Alabama for almost the entire time, and then it doesn't happen.
But now we got Sony Michel for the Patriots in this game.
Yes,
and you got Todd Gurley in.
It's just the Georgia bloodline of world-class athletes.
I know Ernie Johnson, Sony Michel.
Terrell
Davis, Hines Ward. We can keep going
in all honesty, I had one year of playing at the University of Georgia. I mean, I played baseball there my freshman year.
Okay.
I walked on as a freshman and was told to walk off as a sophomore. but I had that one glorious year of wearing the red and black, and I'll never forget it.
What'd you hit that year?
I was 2 for 18 at the dish with one career RBI. And it happened at the University of Tennessee. Second game of a doubleheader, 4:28 in the afternoon. Partly cloudy skies, temperature about 63. But aside from that, I don't really remember it.
Did you lace one in the gap?
No, I was left-handed hitter, and I took one the other way over the shortstop's head, knocked in the go-ahead run, which was going to give us the SEC division title.
Oh my gosh!
And then somebody for Tennessee hit a grand slam in the bottom of the last inning, and we lost.
So you were almost.
So I almost got in the red and black student newspaper as the guy with the game-winning hit.
You almost had a Frankie Cabrera moment.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, very, very, very close.
Very, very close.
Yeah.
Did you ever were you here when Turner had the NFL? Were you here?
Yeah, I worked Sunday Nitro.
The Nitro, right?
Yeah, I had various roles. I was in the studio. I was in the studio when it started with Ken Stabler.
Oh,
which was
my God. What was that
it
like?
was the greatest. It was the greatest, and Snake was just the greatest guy in the world. We'd all show up to watch all the games. We'd probably gather about 10:30 or 11, watch some pregame, watch the games. Snake would come in, about 3 in the afternoon. And he said, I don't know what time I got in last night, EJ, but the newspaper hit me in the head. And so it was, he was the greatest. And so I went from that to being like on the, at the site of the game, kind of, and I did a little bit of sideline. I did a pre and a post game show from the field. We had the NFL.
What was the best game that you had? I mean, do you recall that?
We had the Jeff George game. Remember the Jeff George game in Atlanta? When he and June Jones got into it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had that.
So you were the sideline reporter for that one, maybe?
Yeah,
Where you were did you get in there? See what was?
No. It was like one of those things where you woke up Monday morning and said, "How the heck did I miss that?" And that's probably why my NFL career ended.
No, well, we had a game for Thursday night here. It was a Saturday night game, or was it, as we called it, the Saturday night edition of Thursday Night Football, which people kind of have
It
fun
makes
with.
sense to TV guys.
Don't you remember? Exactly, right. But everyone else, they're like, what are you talking about? That was the game. It turned out to be Bill Parcells' last win as a head coach. Beat the Falcons, where I'm on the sideline of that game. I wasn't doing the sideline, but I'm getting set to do the halftime. And a member of Jim Mora's staff comes running up to me, say, do you have video of T.O. spitting at D'Angelo Hall? And we're like, what?
Yeah.
In the same way that you might have been like, what was going on with Jeff George and June Jones? Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? They were hopping mad. D'Angelo Hall was hopping mad. And sure enough, Terrell Owens came by our set post-game as the guest. And as if that wasn't awkward enough, Steve Mariucci, who, as we all know, benched him for going to the Dallas Star, had not spoken to T.O. in years. He was the guest. He was the analyst.
Nice.
And everyone was volunteering to give up their seat for that post-game interview that I was conducting. And T.O. flat out admitted, I spit at him. And I'm like, oh, gosh, okay. Yeah. One of those.
Yeah. And we'll be right back.
I know, and we'll be right, exactly right.
That's always the good fallback.
That's right.
Always be ready to say that.
Well,
we'll be right back.
I've always told analysts that I'm doing, if you ever have any trouble, the safe words are back to you, Rich.
Yeah.
Those are the safe words. I'll take, if they're getting in trouble, I'm there for you.
No, you're exactly
right. Do you have any of those moments of your career?
We had one with Chuck, amazingly. But he had said something, and I don't want to start a big thing because I remember it, but I know he had a couple of things to say about PETA at one point because the league was thinking about going to all leather, going away from a leather basketball, and Charles came out at halftime, and we're live, and he slowly unwraps a hamburger, and I'm like, Chuck, I can't help but see. He says, I just want those people at PETA to know that animals are good for two things, eating and testing.
Back to you, Ernie.
No, and I was like, Kenny? Kenny, help? So that was like in Charles' first or second year with us. But it happens every now and then, and there you just hope that sometimes it's not going to be guilt by association. I know he said it, but you're all gone.
Right. But you're so great at this too. I mean, and Ernie Johnson here on the Rich Eisen Show and a Honda Insider Report. We'll talk some NBA in a quick second, but this is what you're great at, and that's what's so great about the show that you do up the hall from here, is that it's natural. It looks like your show meeting is on television. That what you're doing, sure, it's produced, but you are just being yourselves, and you allow these guys to be themselves. And when it does need some sort of corralling, you corral it. And at times, you know when to let everybody go, to let them be themselves. And that is an art, sir. And I want to point that out to you in front of all these people.
Well, you do the same thing with your show, and when you're dealing with the guys that we deal with. Look, Charles changed the landscape of sports TV for all these studio shows. I mean, it was never like this until Charles got here, and so where we didn't have to necessarily talk about the game if the game wasn't any good. We would just go ahead and it's like four guys sitting in a living room. We're watching the game. Nobody's asking for permission to talk. And the thing that I think that sticks out is we do not rehearse it. I mean, these guys don't go to the production meeting. We don't want them there. I have to be there so the producer and I are on the same page.
Right.
But if we want to throw something at Kenny sometime during the night, we don't want him to have been in the meeting, say, okay, yeah, that'll be funny. And then you say this and I'll laugh. And then you say this and he'll laugh and then we'll go to break. And we don't want that to happen. A lot of times it's whoever's talking the loudest gets heard. It's people interrupting each other. And there are times where I got to like, guys, please, we need to get to this. But we all love each other. I mean, we genuinely do. And we know that we're blessed to do what we're doing. I mean, we've had this same group together, the three of us, for 20 years, and then Shaq for the last 7. And that doesn't happen in TV. Because executives are always trying to tinker with the chemistry. Oh, I know who will work this guy with this guy. And there's no predicting it. And so I think when everybody knows their role and everybody's satisfied with their role and nobody's trying to make the show about them, organically things just happen that the next day people are at work talking about it and saying, did you see when Shaq said he didn't know where the Golden State Warriors played, which actually happened on our air? I'm doing highlights of the Warriors game, and I said, we go to Oakland for the highlights, and this is all live. And Shaq just like, Ernie, how come you keep saying Oakland? And I was like, it's where they're playing the game. I know, but why in Oakland? Because that's where the Warriors play. I didn't know that. And this is while the highlights are going on. I just know we stayed in San Francisco. I got on the bus. And you see, there's no production meeting in the world that could come up with, hey, let's do this. That's Shaq being Shaq. And so it's just part of what makes the show so much fun, because if you don't know what's going to happen, join the club. Neither do I. Got no clue what's going to happen from one moment to the next. And because it's not rehearsed, we'll sit there and start the show, and Charles will say, I got to say something. And he'll unload. And then suddenly we're talking for 3 minutes about that, which nobody in the production meeting ever talked about. But it's just the way the show goes. And I think that's why it's kind of resonated with people. It's just like, it's unpredictable. The guys are funny. You never know what they're going to say. And if there's going to be an international incident that happens, and sometimes, we've come maybe that close.
Yeah, you come very close. You walk up to that line. Before I let you go, sir, tell me why the Warriors aren't just going to hoist the trophy right now.
No, they are.
Something.
I think we know that.
Okay.
I think the thing that always, the injury thing is what always throws a wrench into things.
Right.
I mean, we did the Western Conference Finals last year, and the Houston Rockets could have won that. They could have beaten the Golden State Warriors, but the Chris Paul injury was huge, and so. All I can say is if Golden State's going to trot out that same bunch every night from here until the finals, you can't beat them 4 times. You can try to make it. You can try to make it close. You can play them your best, but that's a special group. And now that they've added DeMarcus Cousins to that mix, it's almost unfair.
It is almost unfair,
It's almost like, hey, look, okay, you guys have all these guys, you can only play 2 of them in this game. Which 2 are you going to play? It's almost gotten to that point, because as you see right now, they've won 11 in a row. They're just on a roll. Steph Curry's having a tremendous year, and that's the thing. When you look at this team, maybe Durant will have an off night, maybe Steph will have an off night, maybe they'll have an off night together, and then you just worry about Klay Thompson and DeMarcus Cousins going off. So that's the championship team,
right?
If they're healthy.
If they are healthy, for sure.
What a boring answer to give you. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's
And
not.
I
No,
still watch.
No, it is. No,
there's still drama.
No, it is the NBA. I mean, Anthony Davis coming out and creating something that looks like, it looks like we may have the first instance of a player accused of tampering in the NBA. Do you think we might get to that point where Adam Silver steps in and there's a player who owns an agency with an agent that's shared with the best player that's come out to say that I want to get traded?
No, I certainly think it puts everybody's antenna up in the league office, and you can't let it run rampant. It's going to be interesting to see how New Orleans handles this, because you can't wait too long, but you don't want to pull the trigger before you get what you think he's worth, and you don't want to be stuck with him next year. So if you don't make a deal by the All-Star break, and I'm not saying you have to do it by the trade deadline this year, but if the time goes on and then suddenly other teams feel like, well, maybe we're writing the rules now because you don't want to be stuck with him, so we're only going to give you this. It'll be interesting to see how quickly this does move on, and if the New Orleans tries to, get it done and get top value for Anthony Davis. It's going to be interesting situation.
What's your gut feeling how it works out, how it turns out?
Oh man, well, from what I'm hearing about, not returning calls from the Lakers,
Right.
Where is a good place? I mean, is Boston a place? I don't
Boston's
know.
a place that can provide the parts to make it the place.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. I've given up trying to predict where guys are going to land, or is this guy going to sign here? That kind of thing. I don't know, but it's the Laker thing would have been intriguing, but it certainly looks like the lines of communication are not exactly open right now.
Well, then outside of your so-called lane, do you have a Super Bowl 53 prediction? Ernie Johnson?
Are the Patriots in it?
They are indeed, sir.
That would be my pick.
Okay.
No, that's
Patriots, Warriors.
Watching them the other day, it was just, it's like, just when and we witnessed it when they played the Falcons in the Super Bowl. I mean, you get them down, and I had actually stopped watching the game for a little while with the Falcons up big, and I started cleaning up. We were having a Super Bowl party, and I'll clean some of this stuff up and say, oh, what's going on? Okay, well, I'm going to sit and watch a little bit more. You just can't ever count them out. And as much as I'd like to see Sean McVay have a great night, he's a Marist guy.
That's right.
Marist High School here in Atlanta.
That's right.
Yeah, I went there a long time before he did. But I think it'll be some fun to watch. But man, that Patriots have that it factor, man.
They do. And Ernie Johnson here in the Honda Insider Report, which is brought to you by the all-new Honda Passport, the ruggedly styled SUV that's as capable as it is stunning. Head to your Honda dealer today and see why it's the perfect vehicle for your adventures. Love watching you, Ernie, and I'm just thrilled that you came here today.
My favorite guy in the business right here is Rich Eisen.
Oh, my gosh.
As good a
Thank you. Thank you.
As good as he is at this, he's a better man, and so you can just keep it up, man.
Right
it's always a
back at you.
pleasure to be here with
And
you.
again, I've told you this on the phone. I'm thrilled to be able to tell you in person what you did the night that you won the Emmy and then called Stewart's kids up and gave that Emmy to Stuart Scott's babies was really amazing.
I think anybody would have done it, but I was thrilled to be in that position to be able to honor them and honor Stu.
Well, thank you for doing that.
You got it.
You're the man. It's Ernie Johnson, everybody.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.